Hi guys, welcome to Puny God Gaming's unboxing of the Marvel Crisis Protocol Asgardian expansions. My name is Dan and we were going to do an unboxing with Adam and David, but Adam has already got excited and opened his, and David's didn't arrive because he had pre-ordered them with the Winter Soldier and the Vision box set, and with the Winter Soldier and Vision box set seemingly not being released at the same time over in the UK, I have managed to keep mine closed and unopened as I was working this weekend, so I could unbox it with you guys. I've taken the cellophane off because there was a lot of shine on the camera from the light above. So we are going to look at Loki and Hela first, and leave Thor and Valkyrie to last, as you know, leave the best till last. So once again, what we're looking at here is some tight packaging, really nice artwork, very minimal packaging, which is really good. We want to make sure that we're looking after the environment, and the less waste that goes into our hobby, the better. So turning it over, there's a small amount of background talking about Loki Laufsen, and then also about Hela, and they've carried on with their style of game where they're looking at the more comic book rather than the cinematic universe from Marvel. So in the cinematic universe with Marvel, Hela is Thor's sister, whereas in the comics they follow a more true line towards what the Viking or Scandinavian sort of lore and mythology is, with Loki having a daughter called Hela who rules over Hell. So they do quite a nice little bit of background there, and they also show on the box that there's the Hela miniature, the Loki miniature, 2 bases, 2 character stat cards, 2 team tactic cards, and 15 tokens. They've also stated that the age is for 14 and up. I would imagine that this is because of the difficulty of the kit. There's been a lot of talk over social media and on Reddit and stuff like that about people struggling with how small and delicate the kits can be. A lot of people have spoken about this character, Shuri. She's to be brutally honest, a bit of a nightmare to put together, especially with the stuff on the hands and the hair at the back. And I know that a lot of people with this beauty struggled with the arms, and it was quite fiddly. So it isn't for a beginner audience with regards to assembly, but I'm hoping that when we undo the box and we look at the sprues, that they've kind of tried to address it, because the sculpts are beautiful. So let's get this open, have a little look. Okay, so chucking the box to one side, as we don't need that for the time being. We've got the assembly instructions, and it looks like what is a load of rules. Nice concise assembly instructions. My only thing that I would like to see is probably sort of letters and numbers to make it that slight bit easier for the more newcomer of model building to get into, just pure, for ease. Then the other thing is there's a new rule for people who have the special rule of Gem Bearer to be able to carry an Infinity Stone. I have a A4 printed rulebook, so what I'm going to do is, if there's any extra rules that come out in expansions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them all together, place them in a wallet, and then have them in the back page of my rulebook. So that's where that will be going. So we'll put that to one side, as we don't need that at the minute. We've got the miniatures. Again, we've got a couple of plastic bags. These are really useful and really handy for storing basing materials, paper clips if you're pinning things, just general hobby stuff. So I do like the fact that we've got these type of plastic bags, but also, you know, there's only so many that you're going to need, and with, again, the environment and stuff like that, we need to make sure that we are minimising these sorts of packaging. But I do like how compact, and, you know, there's very little wastage. I understand the cardboard is there because they don't want the cards to get marked, so we'll get rid of that. Here's the models. We'll take the models out first and have a look. I'm really looking forward to this. Okay, get rid of that packaging. So we've got the standard Marvel Crisis Protocol small character bases. They're lovely. We've had them since the, you know, core set. The sculpts are amazing. There's no tactical rocks like on some other companies' bases on literally every model that's released on sort of like a scenic base. So, you know, they're very nice. They're very well textured, and seemingly the sculpts are getting better and better. And one thing that I didn't notice was actually they've added what looks to be a coffee cup and like a broken can. I mean, that's pretty cool. I've never noticed that before. They've probably been on other other basing sets, but I've never actually noticed that. So as you can tell from my models that I've got over there, that I've never put them on. So but, you know, they are good. I mean, I would quite like to have had some Asgardian bases, but, you know, beggars can't be choosers, and I understand that also it's expensive with moulds and the sculpting of new bases. I just hope that the Guardians of the Galaxy bases come on like a sort of galaxy themed base to go with the new terrain that looks fantastic. So yeah, standard bases there. And then we've got the larger bases. I won't be using the one with the drain cover because I've already got Venom, as you can see, on that there. So I will look to use this one. Again, I don't really recognise this base. I think it might be a new one, as all the other bases that generally I've had have been on this base. And it's nice. I quite like it, actually. It's pretty cool. I quite like this indent here, like a little crater. I don't know what these are. I mean, on the box it looks like something metal, but like something in the path. But yeah, they're very, very nice bases. And again, I haven't noticed this before, but it looks like what to be a coffee cup there. People littering the streets of New York. So let's have a look at the models, the miniatures. So looking at the miniatures, the detail is very, very fine. If we look at the head area, if I just get my thumb out the way to make sure that the camera can focus, Hela's mask, the detail is incredibly shallow. I mean, you can tell the details on there, and it's really, really beautiful. But at the same time, the detail is very shallow. So when you're painting these, make sure that you are thinning your paints down with water and using more thin coats than thick coats, because then you'll get the maximum amount of detail and your miniatures will come out looking lovely. Altogether, the miniatures look really, really nice. I was concerned when I saw the picture about this part of the blade, but it seems to be supported really, really well by the body, the contrail, and the part of the arm there, so I'm not so concerned about that. If we look at the box a sec, the contrail looks like it's going to support the miniature really, really well, and with that it's going to stop breakages, because when you see miniatures where they're like standing on one ankle, generally mine always break. They are gaming pieces at the end of the day, so just need to be mindful of that. These look a bit fragile, but I have found that the hard plastic that Atomic Mass Games have been using has been quite sturdy. and I haven't had any breakages. I've dropped a couple of models a couple of times, and they've been fine. So Hela looks really good. She doesn't look too complicated to put together, which is nice. So we'll put her to one side and we'll look at Loki. So I really like the way that Loki's body looks with the cloak flow, and I like how it's in one piece. There aren't any mould lines that are too prominent, which is really good. The legs I find are quite static, especially with the pose, because the cloak is billowing out, but at the same time I can appreciate that Loki is standing over his subjects, making them do his bidding. So it's very in character with him, despite the fact that it's quite static. I love the scepter. I think the scepter is fantastic. There's all twists and turns in it, but I'm not going to. I've painted all my miniatures up as they're painted for in line with the cinematic universe, not the comic book style. So I'll be making sure that there's a blue glow coming out of the gem of the staff. I quite like this frozen trail as well. That's really cool, and you can tell that it's part of the foot of the miniature, because there's a part here where Loki will be standing. I like the horns. Again, they're a very small part, it's very delicate, but if we look at the head on Loki, there are 2 slots available for them to just pop into, so hopefully that won't be too much of a challenge to get sorted. So if I put the miniatures to one side and we have a look at the cards. Try not to damage the cards. There, guys, there is a website available called ProTech Painting. They also have a eBay shop where you can get card sleeves for Hela, Loki, the other characters that are for this size. They're really good value. You get 10 in a pack, I believe, for about $2.99. Shipping's not very much money either. So we've got the 2 character cards, we've got 3 tactics cards, and we've got some new tokens. Well, I say new tokens, I'm guessing these tokens here are the soul tokens. These look like objective tokens, bleed tokens, and what looks like to be someone trapped in webbing. So I can only think that that might be for the slow condition, which is lovely. So I'll put them to one side and we'll have a look at the cards. Now, these were obviously teased online, but I'm actually getting to have a proper look at them rather than just images on the internet. So Hela's coming in at 4 threat. Now, Puny God Gaming, with myself, Adam and David, are going to be doing a round the table discussion of the new Asgardians, where we find that they fit in the current competitive scene, but also in more themed matches where we're looking for something cinematic and more fun. Not saying that competitive isn't fun, but something along the, the more laid back gamer type of game. So I'm not going to go into too much depth, but what I am going to do is I'm going to have a look at what each character is kind of bringing to the table. So please look out for that video that's coming about us discussing the characters, where they fit within the teams, what we're looking at taking on a more competitive basis, and also discussing the current meta within tournaments. Such as, is Hulk really as bad as people are kind of finding him, or is Ultron as overpowered as people are finding him? Where does MODOK fit? Etc, etc. So please keep a lookout for that. That's going to be coming in the next few days, but we're going to have a look at these ever so quickly. So Hela is coming in at threat 4, which is, sort of upper tier on the power. 6 health and 4 defense across the board, which is really good. I kind of look at 3 being average, anything below that below average, 4 and above is you're looking at quite a powerful hero, and the fact that she's got 4 defense in Mystic is really good. She's got 3 attacks. She's got 2 physical and 1 mystic. The first physical attack that she's got is Hellforged Blade. Now this is a 2 range, 5 dice, 0 power attack. Kind of your standard attack where you gain power for each amount of damage that's been dealt. So it's there to help power the heroes up. But she also does bleed on a wild, which is really good. Bleed's a great condition. Can be really annoying, especially if you've got one health left on a hero that's going into the cleanup phase, and you know that they're going to die. So we've then got the mystic attack, which is called Claim Soul. Range 4, 6 damage, 6 dice, 2 power. And if this attack deals damage, after the attack is resolved, the character gains a captured soul token. So the lightness is with the low defense of Mystic in the majority of the teams, that she's going to be claiming a soul every time she uses this. And as she's got the special rule of Asgardian and gains 2 power a turn, she can use this and then have another attack, or use this and move, or it's going to be quite a decent attack set. And the captured soul tokens are really, really useful. So I think we'll see this being used quite a lot. The last one is her sort of high power attack, Reign of Hell. Again, it's got 3 range, 7 dice, 4 power, quite power intensive. And if the character has the bleed special condition, it does not count wild results as successes when defending against this attack. And then if you roll a wild, it does explosive damage as well. This is really good. It feeds into a Hellforged Blade attack to kind of set it up, use some, get some power from that, cause bleed, set it up, and then hit a Rain of Hell, and then really do some damage. It's a nice attack. Quite standard on the cards. Most of the characters have a standard attack, sort of like an energy or a mystic attack, and then a full-on power attack there. She's then got the special powers of Army of Hell. It's a 0 power cost, so it can only be used once per turn, but she can discard 1 to 3 captured soul tokens during the next attack made by this character this turn. Add 1 die to its attack roll for each captured soul token that was discarded. If a captured soul token was discarded after the attack is resolved, they gain bleed. So again, you can boost up the power of these, making sure that you're gaining an extra 3 dice, or 1 dice, 2 dice, 3 dice, whatever, to make sure that you are doing consistent damage. The superpower can only be used once per turn, but that's fine. It's a balancing factor there. Asgardian special power, so this is one of the active powers that happens all the time. They gain 2 power every like power up phase, which is brilliant. And then Goddess of Death. When another character is dazed or KO'd, this character gains a captured soul token. This character may have a maximum of 3 captured soul tokens at any one time. She's going to be getting soul tokens consistently, and she's just going to be able to just add dice willy-nilly, which is nice because it's not like it's from a tactic card where it's 1 per game. If we turn her over, she gets a little bit worse on the health stats. So she's only got 4 health. She stays exactly the same on her defense. Her attacks stay exactly the same. She's, however, got a new superpower called Queen of Hell, which again is on 0 power. If this character has 3 captured soul tokens, when it would be KO'd, you may use this superpower. Remove all damage and captured soul tokens from this character. It's not KO'd. Now, wow, that's very good. There's going to be characters throughout the game which are going to be getting dazed and knocked out, so she's going to be getting capture tokens for that, and there's no range on that, so it's anyone on the board. Then, on top of that, she's able to do it with Claim Soul. She's going to be able to keep herself alive a lot. What isn't clear is if she goes, it's similar to Ultron's power where she goes and turns over, but I don't think it will be. I think all damage is, you discard all damage when you move into the daze phase, daze side of the card. So it will literally just be you remove all the damage and just go back to being dazed, but I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll have to wait and see. I initially wasn't that bothered about putting her in my team because I felt like she was very expensive, and the 4 health on the other side, it's very similar to MODOK. Once you get him down onto his daze side, 4 health makes him very, very vulnerable, and if you can isolate him, he's in a lot of trouble. And I felt like she would be like that. But if you purely make sure that you are going to keep her alive by keeping 3 soul tokens on her to use this, it's brilliant. It's very good. So I'm definitely going to look at maybe rethinking her being in my list. I'm just going to put her card to one side. We'll have a look at Loki. So Loki, again, 4 threat. He's got 3 defense across the physical and energy, but he's got 4 mystic defense, which is brilliant. 5 defense on his 5 health on his health bar as well, and then he's got a standard strike, which a lot of the characters do. He's then got an energy attack, which is a beam range 3 with 4 dice. If this attack deals damage, after the attack is resolved, the target character gains a slow special condition. Really good. 4 dice is a little low, but there's ways of buffing that, obviously. So you can have a look at I Am a God and make sure that using that with the Frost Blast, and as it's a beam, if you've got characters such as Cap within 2 of everybody trying to bodyguard them, and you beam them all and they all get slow, it's massive for board control. And then we've got a mystic attack, which is 3 power, illusions. So if you get a double wild with 6 dice and 4 range, after this he does an ability called mesmerize. So after this attack is resolved, you may advance the target character at speed, which is medium. After the advance is resolved, all other characters within 2 of the target character suffer 1 damage. That's very good, because even if you don't do any damage, you can jump him into the middle of a load of enemies and just do 1 damage to everybody. Really cool. Very useful. It does require a double wild. If you target MODOK has a way of turning your wilds into blanks, so I wouldn't use this attack on someone like MODOK. I would use it on somebody else and then get close to MODOK to then be able to use stuff such as Frost Blast or Strikes. So he's then got the ability I Am a God. It's 2 power. Before rolling or attack or defense dice, you may use the superpower. During this attack, this character adds blanks to its attack or defense rolls to its total successes. So he's quite survivable, but he's also quite offensive. He's sort of like a jack of all trades, which I really like because he can be used in many different ways. If he's in an Avengers list, this will only cost 1 power to use, which is really, really good. He's then got Trickster, so when this character is targeted by an attack, you may use this superpower. The character makes a small advance. If at the end of the advance this character is outside the attack's range or the attacker's line of sight, the attack ends. If it is the attacker's activation and the attack did not target multiple characters, the attacker may make another action. This superpower can be used only once per turn. This, again, it sounds really good about keeping him alive, but it's very situational. It's 3 power, and that's a lot. If I'm playing against a Loki player and Loki's low on health, and I know that he's got power that he's going to want to use next turn, and he's next to a character that I actually want to target, I'm going to target Loki, because in a bid to make him run away, I will still get to target another character that's nearby and do my activation as normal. And that's effectively just going to force Loki into spending power. It's very similar to Cap's bodyguard. So instead of targeting Cap directly, if you think that Captain America's probably going to bodyguard his mate with a vibranium shield next to him, target the person next to him to make Cap use that power instead of just targeting Cap directly and Cap only spending power for the vibranium shield defense. There's ways of manipulating your opponents in this game to get them to do what you want them to do and effectively have to spend that power. So that will be a very situational ability. We've then got Asgardian, so he's going to be able to build power up quite quickly. God of Mischief. While within 4 of this character, enemy characters must spend 1 before using an action style superpower or a lightning style superpower. That's really good. It's not one of those situational ones. It's going to be in use all the time, and what we got to be mindful of is that people are going to be running low on power quite a lot because of what he's doing. It effectively neutralizes Captain America's saver power on your first superpower, and then it makes all other superpowers really expensive throughout the rest of the turns. It's a very, very good rule, and people will be trying to target Loki to get him out of the game to get rid of that. He's the first character that's been released with Gem Bearer, and he can have the Mind and Space Stone. At this moment in time, the only stone that's been released, so they didn't include both of them in the set, but they have included the Mind Stone. I will get onto them very, very shortly. So turning over his card onto the day side, he stays exactly the same across the board. His attacks remain the same. His special powers remain the same, other than for the God of Mischief. So it's in bold. It now says, additionally, while within 4 of this character, enemy characters do not roll additional dice for critical results. Loki is incredible. He is a control whilst also being an offensive miniature, and he can also be defensive. He is going to be, in my opinion, a staple of everybody's lists. He is going to be a meta character. He's only 4 points, and if you add the Mind Stone, the Mind Gem with him, he goes up to being 5. So he's the same amount of power as Thor, MODOK, etc. So he is really powerful, but at the same time I think that it's justified. I do like what Atomic Mass Games are doing, and there's no power creep in each new set that's coming out. I can see the weaknesses, I can see the strengths, and I can see the balancing factors in why certain rules are doing what they're doing. Loki, I think he's going to be on the elite side of things purely because he can do it all, and he doesn't just affect things in his turn, he's affecting the enemies in their turn with regards to power, and also them not being able to reroll crits or get extra dice for crits, which is just incredible. It's really good. So he is definitely going to be in my 10 for any tournaments, and probably going to be a staple in whether he's got the Mind Stone or not in my teams. So they're the character cards. Now we're going to have a look at the 3 tactics cards that we've got. So the first tactic card that we've got is the first Infinity Stone that's arrived, and it's the Mind Stone. It's 1 threat. As I said, it takes Loki up to 5 power. Choose an enemy character within 3 and advance it small. This superpower can be used once per turn. Really, really good. Again, if you're going to turn Loki into a board control monster, he can take people who have activated, who have jumped onto an objective, and move them back or off the objective because they've moved small. If he's in an Avengers affiliated team with Captain America leading it, the power is only going to cost 1, because if it's the first power of the turn. Or you can use this power to bring, somebody's picked up one of the consoles, or one of the has a spider on them, they're about to try and run away with it. You can use this power to move them to within 3 of your entire team, and then just whack them, and then place that that objective right next to you. It's very, very good. it's well worth having. It's going to be difficult using Loki and Thor together if you're using the Infinity Gem, because you're only going to be left generally with 7 to 8 points to make the rest of your team. It's quite difficult already with the amount of characters that we love out there, so it's going to be interesting to see team composition. So then we've got sibling rivalry. So sibling rivalry, let me just bring the card up. It's an unaffiliated card, and it's active. Have a look at the artwork. It's amazing artwork. Beautiful. If Thor, Prince of Asgard, is within two range of an allied Loki, both characters may spend a power to play this card. Throw the allied Loki, God of Mischief, medium. He then does not suffer collision damage during this throw. Enemy characters that he collides with roll 2 fewer dodge dice and suffer the staggered special condition. If you're taking Thor and Loki in the same team, this is going to be a must-have. Staggered is a really, really, really good condition. And 2 fewer dodge dice, you're going to be doing consistent damage. You bang that, you throw him into a crowd, and then do damage. It's a brilliant card. I think it's going to see much use. We've then got Doomed Prophecy. So again, let's have a look at the artwork. Beautiful artwork. It looks like a Meow Meow or a Mjolnir being broken on the Bifrost. And it says it's a reactive card. At the start of the activation phase, any allied character may spend 3 power to play this card. So it's quite power intensive. But this character cannot roll defense dice against physical attacks. Okay. Additionally, though, this character adds dice to its physical attacks equal to its defense until the beginning of their next activation, which is amazing. It's so good. Imagine Hulk adding a couple of extra dice, Venom adding a few extra dice, Captain Marvel adding a few extra dice, Cap, Black Panther. Then you have a look at Hell, who's got 4 physical defense, Thor, who's got, I would expect quite a decent physical defense. It's going to be really useful, and the fact that any character can play 3 to use that card. I mean, I haven't seen the Cabal stuff because I'm not really using the Cabal at the minute because I'm an Avengers fanboy / Guardians of the Galaxy fanboy. This is going to be a really, really useful card, and I will probably say that we're going to see this in most tournament selections. So that there is the Loki Hela box set with the cards and the miniatures. So we're now going to look at moving on to the Thor and Valkyrie box set. I'm just going to place them up there. So again, really good packaging, nice pictures of the models, nice artwork, nothing really wasted. Turning it over. Again, we've got a load of story and background on the back, talking about how Valkyrie, comic book Valkyrie, she's in charge of the Queen's unit and Shield Maidens, and that she's her skill with the blade places her one of the greatest fighters in all of Asgard. So, a nice little bit of background. Again, it states what's in here. So 1 Thor miniature, 1 Valkyrie miniature, 2 bases, 2 character stack cards, 2 team tactic cards, 1 crisis affiliation card, 1 crisis card, 1 affiliation card, and 15 tokens. So there's a new mission in here. So let's get to opening the box. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of the box. Bit of cardboard to separate the cards from the miniatures. Get rid of that. Again, we've got a nice, concise instruction manual for these miniatures. Like I said earlier, I'd quite like for there to be letters on the sprues and stuff, but again, beggars can't be choosers. So we'll place the cards up here. we will get the miniatures out of the bag. Get rid of the bag. Again, standard basing. I really didn't notice that there's a green bottle there, or a beer bottle, just a green bottle, very British. But yeah, standard bases for the miniatures. We'll get rid of them. Now, having a look at Thor, the body looks like it's in three parts. 4 parts. The head has got a lot of detail on it again, so just remember, make sure that you use thin down paints. Small wings to go on the helmet, but there's a big enough, there's the bit where they fit in. The one arm comes in 2 pieces. They have a thing about this, Atomic Mass Games, where on the sprues the arms come in 2 pieces. That's where the main difficulty is with assembling the miniatures usually, but because Thor's quite a big lad, his it shouldn't be too difficult. There's quite a prominent mould line on the leg, but it's not in detail, so that'll be easy to get out. Quite a large mould line across Mjolnir, in fact all the way round Mjolnir, and then down the arm. That's going to be a bit of a pain to get out, but it's not the end of the world. The body has like mould lines around it, but again, like I said, it's not the end of the world. We've got a base which is very, like, for him to stand on, which is very similar to Black Panther's. Black Panther's is a bit smaller, but Thor is, considerably bigger than Black Panther. But there, it is a very similar style base. I'll put him to one side again. Until the model's together, I mean, the sculpt looks fantastic. He looks really dynamic. I really like the look of the model. But, the details there. And I think he's going to look amazing when he's all painted up. And then we've got Valkyrie. Now, this looks like a lot of small pieces. And thankfully, there aren't too many mould lines. I can see a couple of mould lines there. There's none. There's one small one on the back here. But there's nothing that's in detail that's going to be difficult. The legs, is that the legs or is that an arm? I can't tell. It might be an arm. It's an arm. The legs are here. They're very small, delicate, and seemingly the head. So again, if I can show you that. The head seems to be like half off, because I think that it's going to be in the hair. Be careful, guys, with your plastic glue. You don't want to melt the head where all the detail is. But it looks like a really nice model, and to be fair, the stance that Valkyrie is in is really nice. I'm really looking forward to getting her to put together, and I'm probably going to look at painting her up in Marvel Cinematic Universe, because of all the other models that are in my that I've painted up so far are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So but it's nice to see. Also, guys, have a look at the YouTube channel, Puny God Gaming's Facebook page, the Instagram page. Share and like it. We're going to be posting this up for people to be able to see on Marvel's Crisis Protocol Worldwide. But please comment, make comments in the links to the videos where you're discussing about whether you would like to see more comic book characters, or whether you're going to want them to kind of do a Marvel Cinematic Universe style character as well. I'd really like to see Wakandan Thor with Stormbreaker. That'd be amazing. That'd be amazing. I'd love to see that. And Cap with Mjolnir. So, back to getting this stuff out. So we've got the token sets. We've got what looks to be 4 hammers. I don't know what they're for yet. A couple of bleed tokens, some electricity tokens. Okay, move them over there. So we'll have a look at the tactics cards and the affiliation card and the crisis card in a minute. So we'll start with Thor. So Thor, 5 threat, he's got 4 physical, 4 energy and 3 mystic defense. So again, people are going to look at targeting him with mystic attacks, which I don't blame them for. He's got 6 health, so quite an elite top board. Then we go down into the things which we're all excited about, the attack. So he's got the strike. So after this attack is resolved, this character gains power equal to the damage dealt standard, and then he has also got, if on a wild, before damage is dealt, the target character size 4 or less, which is massive, this character may throw it away small. So quite a decent, again, board control, really nice. Then we've got the hammer throw, so this is 1 power. After this attack is resolved, the target character gains the shock special condition, which I would imagine is the new tokens. 5 range, 5 dice, and 1 power to do that. You know, as he's getting 2 a turn, I'm sure that's not going to be a problem. And then he's got a new style of attack, which is an area 2, 7 dice, 6 power energy attack, which is massive because a lot of characters have limited energy defense. Really cool. Everybody within 2 of Thor, he's going to throw himself into the middle of the enemy and he's just going to go wild. So he's got the Asgard affiliation, Prince of Asgard. So at the start of your turns, 1 allied character may spend 1 power. If they do, remove 1 damage or 1 special condition from that character. Each allied character may use this leadership once per round. So as an allied character may use this leadership once per round. If Thor's on like 4 health, Valkyrie goes to use it, she can make Thor get a health back. Hela, Loki, they can all help healing each other, which is really cool, really useful. Yes, it costs power, but with 2 power every turn, plus then the damage output of these guys, it's going to be fine. For Asgard, so this is an action, the character immediately makes a move action followed by a strike action. If the attack action deals at least 1 damage, the target character gains the stagger special condition. This superpower can only be used once per turn. So if he's in an Avengers list with Cap, it's only going to cost 2 points. Or 2 power, should I say. It is an action, but it is a move and a strike. So you're getting 2 actions for the price of 2 or 3 power. This attack action also does stagger if it does a damage. It's really good. It's a really good special condition. Again, it's another one of these special conditions which is there to help with board control and just stop the opponent from being as effective as they need to be, because this is going to be a small team of 4 characters in the majority of missions. Strongest Avenger, choose an interactive terrain feature or an enemy character, both of size 4 or less and within 2, and throw it medium. This superpower can only be used once per turn. Again, if he's in an Avengers list, it will cost 2 power if it's the first one that he's used. 3 power, put to throw a size 4 character or a terrain feature such as a building. That's amazing. It's going to be very good. He'll be able to pick up terrain and just lob it, and then have his entire team be able to target whatever's standing behind it. Very cool. He's then got the Asgardian special rule, so that he can gain an additional power, and then flight. So if I turn him over, he goes to 8 health. 8 health. He's going to be an absolute beast to try and stop. And then he doesn't change. He's exactly the same. He does what it says on the card. He does a lot of damage. He does a lot of throwing characters, a lot of throwing terrain, and then does a lot of healing, or can do a lot of healing, and he can fly. He's very good, but balanced. There's nothing on there which is insanely horrible to fight in like a competitive sense. You are going to have to make the decision and toss up between, do I target him or do I leave him? Because if I target him, he's going to be powered up and he's going to hurt my team. Or do I leave him and not let it and make him wait all those turns to power up before he can do some real nasty damage? It's a choice that's going to have to be weighed up with the scenarios that you're playing. Now we've got Valkyrie. So she starts with 6 health. She's only 3 threat and she's got an average stat line of 3 defense across the board. It's good. She's got a strike, which is 5 dice, and it's your standard. If you do damage, you get power. Then she's got another, well, it's got a physical symbol, but it's got a yellow bit here, and usually if it's got a yellow bit here, it's a energy symbol, energy attack, but seemingly it's a physical attack. Dragon Fang, so 2 range, 7 dice, and 3 power to use. So this is a go-to powerful attack. After the attack is resolved, it automatically gets bleed. It's not even on a wild, but there is a wild ability as well. So after this attack is resolved, this character may make a strike attack. This is amazing. For a 3-point character, she's she's not as fast as Zemo. The bane of my gaming life, Zemo. She's nowhere near as fast as Zemo, but she can make a flurry attack 4 times, and then she's got the charge action, potentially attack 4 times. So how it would look is you have 5 power. If it's in a Avengers list, you're only going to need 4 power to do it. You use Dragon Fang, you run in there with the charge, attack, get a wild with 7 dice, possibly more with the other card that's available from the other set. So it would be 10 dice, get a wild. After the attack is resolved, it doesn't even need damage. You can then strike. Hopefully you'll be able to then boost the strikes up to get enough power to then be able to do Dragon Fang again and then do another strike. Effectively you're getting 5 actions for, you know, 4 to 5 power to start off with. You're probably going to be more likely to need 6 power to get it off, where you're going to be doing the move, the hit, the next hit, and then do the Dragon Fang attack again with flurry. But it's amazing. She's very, very good. She's got Asgardian might, so she can throw something that's size 2 or less, but only small, which is more than useful. Warrior of Legend, so during the next attack made by this character this turn, it may change 1 die to a hit for each crit or wild in its attack roll, which again is amazing. You roll that and you roll 3 crits and a wild, or 2 crits and a wild. You'll be able to change the other dice as long as it's not a skull. Very, very good. And again, as Guardian, she gains an additional power. Turn her over, she loses a health, but nothing else changes. Very, very good for 3 points. Very, very good for 3 points. And I think, again, you're going to find her, possibly Winter Soldier. Some of the 3-point heroes and characters are going to be in there a lot over the next few tournaments, where you're going to see 5 or 6 models in a team, where you've got Black Widow, Okoye, Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Valkyrie, possibly even Star-Lord, because I believe he's 3 points as well from what was teased the other night. So we're going to see that. Now let's have a look at the last bit, the cards. So the affiliation. So we've got Thor, Hela, Loki, Valkyrie and Angela. When we saw this being teased for the first time, myself and Adam quickly went onto the internet and had a look whilst chatting over Messenger at Angela, and we're excited to see what they're going to do with Angela when she arrives. It's going to be amazing. So we've got the first card that we're going to look at, Odin's Blessing. When an allied Asgard character would be damaged by an enemy effect, then we spend 3 power to pay this card, reduce the amount of damage suffered to 1. Again, very, very good. Very, very good. A way of, you know, when the big damage comes in from Captain Marvel, fully totted up, or Hulk, and they've put all their power into this, and then you just bang that card down, spend 3 power, and go, well, I'm only going to take 1 damage from that, and you've wasted what you wanted to do. Amazing. Thunder Wave, so it's a special attack for Thor. Beam 5, 6 dice, 0 power. If it is Thor, Prince of Asgard's activation is within 1 of an allied Captain America. You may spend 2 each to play this card, 2 power each. While within 1 of Captain America, Thor may use the Thunder Wave attack shown above once. Range and line of sight are measured from Captain America when making this attack. It's a beam 5. Very similar to what Tony Stark has got with Iron Man with regards to Captain America and his special card. Very, very similar. Very good. I don't know if it's going to be that useful because Thor's stat line allows him to just bang attacks out, but it is a beam 5, which is very nice. Just having a look at the artwork, which is just absolutely beautiful on the back of these cards. Must get them in card protectors. And the last thing to look at is the new mission. It's an 18 threat. Fear grips world as worthy terrorised cities. So place 4 celestial hammers as shown on map D. I would imagine that they're in each corner of the board. So each player has 2 on either side. Players score 1 VP for each celestial hammer held by a character they control during the cleanup phase. Pretty standard. So interact. So pick up a celestial hammer. So it's power to interact. Characters add 1 die to their attack rolls for each celestial hammer they are holding. When a character plays a team tactic card, they must pay 1 additional power for each celestial hammer they are holding. That's a pure balancing technique, mechanic, just so that when using cards such as this, we don't stick 4 hammers on Thor. Not sibling rivalry, doomed prophecy, should I say. Yeah, we don't put 4 hammers on Thor and then stick that card on to make him have another 4 dice. It's just going to be nasty. It's the same with Hell, using the death tokens to add extra dice. It's just a balanced mechanic, and I like that. I think it's a cool mission. It's pretty simple, and it's going to be fun. So, guys, there's the unboxing for the new Asgardians expansions for Marvel's Crisis Protocol. Please leave a like and a share on all the relevant places that you may see the video. Please be aware that we're going to be looking at doing a battle report very shortly with the models once they're all painted up, and we're also going to be doing a sit-down talk about current lists, teams, affiliations, where the Asgardians fit, where you might be able to get away with 1 or 2 in your team, etc, etc. So again, please look out for that. It's going to be an interesting chat. This is the first time that we've ever done anything like this, so again, please, constructive criticism is always welcome. We're really looking forward to hearing from you guys. Please keep each other safe, keep yourself safe, look after one another, and have fun with your games. Take care, guys. See you later.